welcome to part 2 of reopening an abandoned gold mine. My side-by-side thoroughly loaded with gear. We headed out. We finished cutting the trail the rest of the way so we wouldn't have to carry all our stuff, an extra 120 yards or whatever it is. So that's a good thing. The road is open from the top to the bottom with just a little bit of dressing work needs to be done. We were greeted by this very large, fat salamander at the portal before we started work. She stayed around most of the day while we were digging and probably was not thrilled with our presence. So digging began. A trench needs to be dug to drain the water that's sitting inside the portal, and then once we start pumping water, it's got to be able to flow out. That meant moving some large rocks. Then we had to winch up to this downed tree and get that out of there because it was buried right into the middle of where we were cutting our trench. The other rocks blocking the trench work were too big to pull out. As you see, I had a snatch block ready to try and yank them, but they were just too big. So the trench ended up going underneath the rock.
Well, we're getting there.
As you can see, the progress is being made. The water flow is steadily increasing until they finally breached that on the inside and that thing started to drain. So the water's draining and I have my gear and it's time for us to start loading in. So in I go. Since the water's still pretty deep and I'm wearing waders, I went first. Get one of my lights out. Yeah. Huh. Really is hard to tell, huh? Ooh. Yeah, that's all silt. Huh. Huh. Truly an amazing sight. All that blue and the stall posts and the water. Those logs are from the first time that we went there, and they had to stand on them to get in because the water was above their boot line. Here is the bilge pump setup we've got, trying to drain that back section. It's pumping a good amount of water, and it's flowing out the portal.
Yeah, this little pump is not going to do it. It's not going to do it, sadly. So, the water below that pump is, with the silt, is at least 3 feet. We figure they were walking under those stalls. So, yeah, I don't think we're draining it with an 1,100 gallon per hour pump. There's a lot of water in here.
So after about 90 minutes of pumping, the stall post that's right there at the water level was underwater. We've probably dropped a little more than a foot. But if there's another 7-8 feet, we're not getting it done today. Weather is probably going to prevent us from having time to gather the necessary equipment we're going to need to pump that down enough to get back in there. So it looks like we might be done for this season. We'll have to go back in the spring and probably clean up the road and some of those bridge crossings and the trench and see where we go. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.